adventure of a lifetime. What's going on, everybody? Sorry I missed the stream on Friday, and then I was going to do it on Saturday, and I didn't do that one either, so we are here on Sunday. We'll just keep pushing it off until we can make it happen, I guess. Hope everybody's doing well. Looks like we're going to do episodes 8 and 9 today. Should be a good time. 8's one of my favorite episodes. Goes through a lot of the areas that I knew as a child and as a young adult, and did a lot of fishing down at the river at these places. So fun to go through there on the kayak. Before I ever did, I was always worried about the river down there and people being in small boats going down the mighty Mississippi and thinking they were crazy to do it. But yeah, good experience. Anyway, let's get into it. What's up, cuz? Joe, how you doing, man? Ain't heard from you in a while.
Oh, good morning. June 18, 18 days on the Mississippi River.
Oak Island, awesome spot.
Oak Island. This pad is not the most comfortable thing to sleep on, but it works. So, gonna try for Cloquet Island today. Shouldn't be an issue. I'm hoping to actually go like 10 miles further than that, 15
hey Dan,
miles
good to
even.
See ya.
If I can figure out an island to stay on before Minneapolis that's closer, that would be a good thing. Current's much faster now. Hopefully it stays that way, kinda. Be nice to make up some miles. Further I can get today, the more likely I can get picked up tomorrow. Since it is Tuesday, and I was hoping to get picked up Wednesday for a couple days, go home and relax. Sleep in my bed. So, good view. It's always good view in the morning. Like I said, I'm on an island, so that's kind of neat.
I don't really know of any spot that I stayed that I didn't absolutely love the view I had. It was always just a nice thing to just lay in the hammock or in the tent in the morning and just kind of watch the river go by and listen to the birds. Closer to Minneapolis, so that my Wednesday pickup is still a possibility. Still gonna shoot for Hastings now, I think, just to save on time a little bit. But yeah, another nice calm day out here so far. Sun's out, it's bright, and just heading on down, passing the big huge coal fire power plant in Monticello. It's
see stuff like that, sure makes you feel little out here on the river.
So as a kid, I used to go up to the Brainerd area, and we used to pass that plant all the time. And if you come up like Highway 10 or 94, you might pass that, and you'll know when you pass it. It's huge. Kind of cool to see it on the river. This is actually a little back channel. I just went on the back side of an island, but it's kind of neat to explore some of the little back channels that were out there. Used to hang out in Elk River as a kid, so it's kind of cool to go through there. So we are back on a campground again, 2:30. Been here since about 2, maybe a little before. Short day today because this is kind of the end of the campsites that are provided for you. And from here on out now it's going to be kind of a find your own spot to stay thing. I only went 30 miles or so today because... So yeah, so this is the Foster Island. This is, I'm not sure if Foster Island's on the new DNR maps, but Cloquet Island I think is. And Foster is actually one of the islands right next to Cloquet Island. I think it's east of it, if I remember right. And this is somewhere that a couple of other paddlers left me some maps and stuff hanging on the table. They had stayed on this spot for, I don't know, a week and just had a blast. They had other paddlers come through. They were just all partying. It was just a good time for them. And so they left me some maps, and this is actually, they left me some plastic silverware, which started a trend for me because it was so much nicer to just pull out a fresh plastic fork than it was to constantly try to keep cleaning the one I had. And but yeah, it was kind of nice little care package for me from some other paddlers. So I've been averaging about 6 miles an hour, so 10 hours of paddling plus call it an hour or so of I'll tell you, being on the islands is great too. It just kind of had an extra little sense of security that someone wasn't going to sneak up on you in the middle of the night. And anytime I could find an island camp, I was all for it. And this was a nice little spot. Tons of firewood here, and just nobody around. It was just nice and quiet. I think I had a boat pass by once, but that was about it.
Well, this is usually how I start my morning. Let's open the tent and sit here and listen to the birds. But today, all I hear is traffic. Must be closing in on the metro.
Yeah, I think it was. It was the first morning that I remember waking up, and all I could hear was traffic from the highway. And it just was kind of a bummer. I love being up in northern Minnesota. It's just such nice country, but man, you close in on the cities and you hear that morning rush hour. It's just like,
my goal is Hastings, and if I can do that, I am home for a couple of days. And that's a pretty big motivator. 6:38 in the morning, so this is probably my earliest departure yet. But leaving early should give me plenty of time to make the trip. No doubt it will be an exhausting one. I got to go around Coon Rapids Dam. I have to go around to St. Anthony's locks. Lock through Lock and Dam 1. 30 miles from there to Lock and Dam 2. And once I make Lock and Dam 2, I get picked up on my wife and live the good life for a few days. So this is gonna be a long trip, long day. Traffic.
So yeah, I said it in the video, of course, but the closer you get to Minneapolis, obviously the more busy it's going to be. There is a homeless issue out there, which is kind of a bummer because They tend to have no problem taking your stuff, and you know, as we of course remember in the beginning of the series, Daryl and Jonathan had their boat stolen, and the last thing I wanted anywhere along the trip was to have that happen. And it seems like every year somebody loses everything because they left it behind, they didn't lock it, didn't secure it, trusted somebody they shouldn't have trusted. I do not really trust folks, so I made the decision that I was just going to do a really long day and paddle through as much of the metro as I could. Worked out. I was pretty sore the next day. That was a long time to sit in the boat and paddle, but you know, it's up to everybody, of course, how they want to handle that. But Coon Rapids Dam, it's got a little spillway off to the left side. The river is over here. This is the little spillway. You just kind of walk around. A couple of fishermen there, they were surprised to see me pull up, and was telling them, you know, of course they always ask, where'd you come from, where are you going, and you tell them you came from Itasca and you're heading all the way to the Gulf, and that strikes up the conversation that you'll have dozens of times along the way. And everybody always says, oh, I'd love to do that, or oh, I wish I could do that, but you know, just go. You kind of got to be willing to just throw everything aside and just go.
All right, so we just passed through the Coon Rapids Dam. Not a bad portage at all. Pull off to the left, just go up the boat launch, walk around the road, follow the sidewalk, and you can go down into a nice little channel. Just
rock on, Joe. There's always going to be a different way of getting through that area. I know there's some people that'll help you through there. Whatever you do, secure your stuff. Even on the islands, I was told that the homeless guys can get out there and grab your stuff right off the island and leave you stranded on the island. I don't know if that's true. I've never seen it, but obviously you want to be very careful. You don't want to lose your ride. So it's pretty cool because, like, you always wonder what's around the next corner and you're never really sure. And then you turn it and bam. That there is downtown Minneapolis. Boy, am I really feeling like I knew that I was going to come around one of these bends and see that skyline of the cities. I thought I would see it a lot sooner than I did, but you know, I'm very familiar with Minneapolis. I see the buildings every time I come back to see my folks in town up there, and even just seeing it on the river was really a cool experience, especially to realize how far you paddle to get to that spot. So it's a really cool kind of way to come into town. Right, Joe? It's a crapshoot. Anytime you leave the boat behind, man, it's at risk. I always made my trips into town as short as I could. I was always concerned that I was going to come back and something would be missing.
All right, so if you were kayaking through Minneapolis and you're going to go through the St. Anthony Lock and Dam area, you're going to have to portage. This is the bridge you'll look for, the Hennepin Avenue Bridge.
Yeah, so if you don't know, Upper and Lower St. Anthony Falls locks, the first two locks on the river, are permanently closed, and you will have to portage them, and it's not an easy portage. It's probably one of the longer ones.
Nice smooth ramp anywhere.
Of course, I get there, and what do I see? These dudes sitting here, and they tell me straight up, they're super nice, super funny guys. They tell me right away they're homeless dudes, so now I'm nervous to pull my stuff out because I don't want them to take advantage of anything that I leave behind while I start making trips up. So I asked them, I say, hey, if I throw you guys a few bucks, would you help me get my boat up here? And they flew to their feet and helped me haul that boat up there. So it was really awesome. I appreciated their help. You know, I know I rag on the homeless stealing your stuff. I know not every homeless person is going to steal your stuff, but you know, it's a chance that you have to take one way or another. These guys were super cool. I was so happy they were there because they saved me a ton of time having to pull over all the big rocks there on the shoreline and then have to go you know, multiple times up and down the stairs while leaving the kayak up on the park walk or the boardwalk up there or whatever it is. It would have been concerning to me to leave all my stuff in two different spots right down there in Minneapolis. Some people are going to have to do that. There's just not going to be a way around it. But I was pretty lucky. And yeah, it was cool to go through here. This is the Stone Arch Bridge. it's a cool spot. It is really busy, obviously, and there's a lot of people, a lot of busy areas here. This is the 35W bridge. This is the one that collapsed a couple of years back, and this is the brand new one now that they replaced it with. So you can see it here. Fell right in front of the second lock, and yeah, I don't think that one's gonna come down anytime soon. That one's pretty robust. But yeah, this is the new bridge. So once you get up on the sidewalk, it's not so bad. You pull all the way down to the Bohemian Flats here, and then you got to pull through all this sand, which is kind of a pain. But once you're there, and that's pretty much the worst of it.
Both Upper and Lower St. Anthony Falls, portaged basically right down the road. I had a group of 4 homeless guys that actually helped me get the boat up over the stairs down there at St. Anthony.
Yeah, Joe, no, for sure, man. Once you're done with that, oh man,
a ton of headache.
In theory, you shouldn't have to portage again.
Told them to go enjoy
it's
themselves.
A big milestone
any
to
way they
accomplish.
could, but so if you guys ever see this, that was awesome. Thank you very much. You saved me a ton of time, hassle, and yeah, the portage is a long one. It takes a while to get here. It's hot. It's people everywhere. No shock, you're the only one pulling a boat down through downtown Minneapolis. So it's an interesting experience. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get any shots of the falls just because they're around a bend here, and I'm not going to paddle back up there to do it. I'm just going to continue on. So next up will be Lock and Dam number 1. My old stomping grounds as a kid. Hopefully no one's down there and I can stop and enjoy the place for a few minutes. After that, we got 30 miles stretch to Lock and Dam 2 and Hastings, my stop for the day. So we got quite a ways to go. I'm gonna get rocking.
I've been on this
we'll see you there.
little cruise boat here. That was my first time ever going through a lock, was on that boat. It's pretty cool. It would go through the lower St. Anthony lock, turn around, come down, and go a couple miles down river and come back up.
Alright, so we're a few miles down now from quite a few miles actually, like 5 or so, from the St. Anthony upper and lower locks. And we are now getting into the bluffy area of the river. You can see that we're kind of down in a gorge now, and the river should pick up a little bit of speed here. Just ahead of me is Lock and Dam number 1. I've been looking forward to going through this one because as a kid I used to go fishing down there. Good afternoon, Lock and Dam 1. How do you read me?
Hey, Loco, went back.
A single kayak looking to head downstream, if I may.
Yeah, Roger. Where are you right now?
I am just upriver from the Ford Parkway.
Okay, yeah. Are you in a red boat?
That's me.
Alright, I'll get the lock ready right now. I'm on the low side, so it'll be a few minutes, but I might be able to get her done before you get here.
Sounds good. I'll take some pictures while I wait. Appreciate it.
Yep, as soon as the gates are open, you might get someone in.
Will do. Thank you. Simple as that. Alright, so pretty cool here. We are at Lock and Dam number 1. This will be my first lock going through. The last 2 I portaged around. Gates are just opening now, so we'll be in there in no time. So it's pretty exciting. And like I said, this is a place I used to come when I was a kid. This will be my first time ever going through this lock, so it's kind of exciting for me.
Now, I could very well be wrong, but I think this is the second highest lock drop on the river. It's a pretty good drop that you do on this one.
Getting ready to head down. Gates are closing. There's no turning back now. And these mooring blocks here will actually follow you down and just hang on to them.
Lock 1's pretty cool. You can go down and park, and you can actually walk across these catwalks here and over to the dam, and just kind of walk all this area. It's pretty cool to watch the lock actually operate, because it's such a big one, or such a deep one, I should say. But it was just a cool experience. Lock 1, I guess, has limited hours now, so if you are coming through here, make sure you call ahead, find out what those limited hours are. I don't know what the portage looks like for this, but it from the different options I've seen people draw out, it's not an easy one. So try to plan your day coming through here when they're open. So you feel pretty small coming out of here. It's a big structure to be paddling your little kayak out of. Yeah, spent plenty of time fishing this here. I got so many lures under there. Minnehaha Creek, if you're familiar with the area, comes through right here. I've been down here and this whole thing has been underwater. I've seen this river rage through here some years. This bridge is totally gone. Crazy, just
all the way.
How flooded it can get down here, but
gonna give it a shot.
Such a cool spot to come through for
19 days ago.
Really? From up where?
Yep.
Brainerd or by Itasca? Or?
At Itasca, yep.
Oh, wow.
I've seen the water almost level with the dam.
Well, what a cool experience. I kind of stopped in my old stuff.
There's videos of people who you can actually go, you're not supposed to, but you can actually go into this spillway here, and it's really cool. It's like a brick line tunnel. Back when they used to do a really cool job building things, it's all brick and goes way back into the hill, the cliff back here. It's kind of a cool area just to run around and explore. Fort Snelling isn't far from here, but it's just a neat area. I mean, even if you couldn't catch nothing or you lost all your lures to logs and rocks, you could always just kind of go and explore the area. Just kind of
stopped in my old stomping grounds, and there was actually a really nice couple there that were super curious about the trip, so it was really good to talk to them. She took an amazing picture of me with the dam in the background, so that was awesome. So yeah, we're continuing on now, and the next mile marker for me.
Dan says, I think I read somewhere that there was a requirement to have a rope on your canoe or kayak. What can you tell me about that? I don't know if that's a requirement, but I absolutely would bring a rope with you. On my boat, what I had was I had the two little lines that came with the boat. They have like little plastic clips on them, and those I had one on the bow of the boat, and then I had one right next to my deck bag, and then I had I think it's probably 25-foot 1/4-inch rope I had with me, which I used all the time. When you're in the locks, I don't know if that's where this question comes from, but when you're in the locks, you don't need a rope. They'll throw you a rope, or you just hold on to those mooring blocks that'll go up and down with the water levels. But like I said, I don't know if it's a requirement, but I would absolutely recommend you have rope with you.
The Minnesota River Confluence.
It's crazy. All these trees had garbage in them. It's just so much trash down there. It's so sad. But yeah, it's just the way it is. A lot of people will stop at Watergate Marina. They're pretty good. There's the if you ever seen the veterans, I'm trying to think what they were, what they called their channel, but they stopped at this pirate ship here and had drinks and everything. But so it is somewhere people have stopped. I think people have stopped here and tied up for the night, went up to a hotel. Since I knew I would be not far from home, 30 miles yet, but I knew I was going home that night, so I just kept on going.
Alright, so this is a cool spot. This is Pike Island here. This is the Minnesota-Mississippi River Confluence. Minnesota River has been really flooded all year.
Yeah, so up to this point, the Minnesota River had been running like 3 or 4 times its normal flow, and I'd been watching it since the trip began, and it was just absolutely flooded. up the river a ways, there's an old bridge, an old swing bridge area, and then an old it's a walking bridge now, but there's a huge wetland, Meadow Lake or whatever they call it, and it had been just completely underwater all spring, all the way up till I went on my trip, and I knew it was going to be a flooded area, and it was flooded. Obviously not terrible, but it was dumping a lot of water all summer.
Lake Itasca all the way to this point. Pretty amazing. Long way to go yet. Still got quite a few miles to get in before the end of the day here. Currently sitting at 32.1. I still have to hit 60, so I still got 28 miles to go. Let's get her done. All right, so we are through Minneapolis, and there is St. Paul. So this makes it the other city of the Twin Cities, and we are well on our way. This is a busy area, so we're definitely going to be careful through here, but I want to get it over with, so let's get on.
Yeah, so the Highway 52 bridge is the one it's a few bridges down, but I always pass over the river there and see tons of barge activity. And this was going to be my first real encounter with any of them, and I just assumed it was going to be super busy. But luckily, it ended up not being terribly busy, and I made it through just fine. So this area I'll actually show you here. The main channel is here. I went this little back way, and I guess I really don't know why, but that's the way I went. And I guess if I was going to go again, I'd go through the main channel here. But on the other side of all these little bridges, where all the pylons are, all the water kind of like recirculates and creates all these little whirlpools. And that was actually the first time I'd come across anything like that, so it freaked me out a little bit. Not quite sure how the whirlpools were going to affect the boat. I mean, I'm no expert kayaker. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. So it was a little hairy coming through there, but made it through no problem. Luckily, all the barges were static. All the towboats were static. Nobody was really moving. So, and then this is that Highway 52 bridge. This is the one that this is the closest highway to my home, and I cross this all the time. There's always barges parked here, so it was a nice surprise to come through, and there wasn't much.
Just made it through the St. Paul area, I think. Downtown St. Paul area. Whew, it was a little hairy. There was some whirlpools and some goofiness as the bridges all kind of...
What's funny too is the whirlpools I experienced there. Like when you get done with the river and then I come back and watch this footage, those whirlpools were nothing. Later on, I go through them for fun at that size.
They really know what to expect coming through there.
It's funny how you grow with the river.
Just bouncing over some waves here from a recreational boat. But yeah, it was crazy. And the birds here are here. See these birds? Biggest birds ever. So, I don't know, hopefully things quiet down now between here and Hastings. Because I could use a nice quiet paddle. I'm at 37 miles, 23 to go. So, we're getting there. 304. Yeah, it could put me there kind of late, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so one thing that I didn't film, and it actually kind of freaked me out a little bit, so I kind of wanted to just get out of the area, is you kind of go through a busier industrial area, and there was a barge that was barely sticking out of the water. All that was sticking out of the water was a corner of the bow of it, and then the rest was underwater, and the water was cascading over the top of the barge and into the back of it, so it was just a sunk barge. And man, the first thing that came into my head was, if a barge can sink out here, what chance do I have? So it kind of freaked me out a little bit. You know, I grew up with a very healthy fear of the river, and was always told that, you know, if you so much as stick a toe in the water, it's going to suck you in and you're gone. And although my perception of the river has vastly changed now, seeing that barge completely sunk in the water like that did freak me out a little bit. My first towboat I ever came across was that one. And this wind dam, mean, I had no idea there was going to be one here, or I would have been further out. I was just trying to give this guy as much room as I could. And, yeah, I mean, at this point, I was kind of committed to going over it. I could have probably turned and made my way around it, but I just paddled as hard as I could, made it over it. Not good for the boat, obviously, but cleared it no problem. So, but yeah, just remember, after you get through the cities and everything, there's going to be a wind dam somewhere down there, and you want to avoid that one. Really beautiful area, high bluffs. It's just kind of cool. Big area. And then the area leading up to Lock 2 is huge area. It takes forever to paddle it. Of course, I had a little bit of a breeze kick up, and it really started slowing me down. But yeah, and there is some islands before Lock 2. I think you could probably get away with staying on them. There was some people that were hanging out on the one, and I'm sure if you had to camp on them, you could. I never recommend going through the lock, through the dam gates. Some people will do that. All I will say, I never did it, but what I would say is do not attempt that on Lock 2, because Lock 2 is a little bit higher than some of the other ones. Nothing gives you a sense of scale than when you look back at a video like this and you see how tiny you are in these things. And I go to Lock 2 every now and then, and if I'm lucky, there'll be a barge there and get to watch them come through, and they fill the chamber. And so it's just really, like, you don't feel that small when you're out there. Everything doesn't seem, I mean, it all looks big, but you really don't get an idea of how small you are until you see it from this perspective.
Hi, handsome husband! Woohoo! Gotcha! Yeah, they all came out just for you.
New Orleans or bust!
Man, I was so tired. I had no idea who these people were that were yelling at me. Apparently, it was just some people that were there to watch the lock, and you know, my wife showed up. She had a camera, and of course, you know, she's telling them all about the trip, and so they were just super stoked to see me come through. And they actually came over to the boat launch later on and asked me all kinds of questions. You know, after a 13, 14-hour day, I had to stand there for a half hour and tell the story again. But
59.2, I probably got half mile to go, so damn near 60 miles. What a long day. I have been paddling since 6:30 this morning. It is 7:49 p.m. now. But see my wife. My wife has the truck. The truck has the ability to get us to food. I can't wait. And this boat has held on.
We went and got Dairy Queen after this because, man, I
Taking
was
some
so
beatings,
hungry.
but it got me here. We got each other here, so that's pretty awesome. So, a couple days of rest and relaxation, so I figure out what's going on with flooding, and I'm going to eat. So, for now, catch you later.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome to be able to stop here and go home for a couple days, help the wife out with anything she needed help with at the house, and I'm fortunate to have the river. I mean, it's about a half hour from my house, but not too far. So it was nice to have her swing up, pick me up, go home. Of course, I switched out boats, but I was pretty fortunate coming all the way through Minnesota to be able to resupply or have as ease of resupplying as I did. Worked out well for me. So let's see here. I'll get you some maps of the mileage. So this was day 18. This was that Oak Island by the big power plant, down to that little Foster Island, and 30.27 miles in what, 5.5 hours basically. So that's that map. And we got day 19. Fletcher. I think that's supposed to be Foster. You'll notice now the maps, I really kind of gave up on naming them after a while, but yeah, this is the big trip through Minneapolis, St. Paul, and so my ma's house would actually be like right here. So that's how close I was to home. I could have I think that's 6 miles right there. Could have paddled up, walked about a mile, and been able to see her, but not happening. Not with how big that day was. So 61.02 miles. That was like my second or third longest day, and or furthest miles in a day. So pretty cool. Can run through episode 9. So this is, if nobody knows, this is Shane and Tracy, and we lost Tracy here at the end of 2019, I believe it was. I'm not sure if I got that right, but she had some health problems, and I won't go into any detail, but she talked to me quite a bit when I was on the river, and these two were always a lot of fun to talk to. We'd call, we'd text. They'd always give me, they were a ways ahead of me, so they'd give me updates on the river and how it was going. And yeah, they were a lot of fun to talk to, and Tracy was awesome, and I really wish I would have had the opportunity to meet them on their way down, but unfortunately, it just that we never we passed each other a few times, but we just never, the timing never worked out. So it was just it was unfortunate, and yeah, good folks.
What's going on, everybody? So this is officially going to be day 20 on the river. I have taken a few days off at home as I came through Hastings. My wife came up, picked me up, and so I get to go home and enjoy my own shower and my own toilet and my own food and my own computer. It really was hard to leave. Once you're home after a trip, you don't want to go out again. And as much as I want to continue the trip, man, did I just want to stay home and just be there, be with my wife, be with my pets, and just be at my house. So I've been out here for probably a half hour now, I guess. I don't even know. I'm going to try to catch the Danish group. They are about a day ahead of me. It's possible I catch them by the end of the day.
Leaving my home and getting back on the river in Hastings gave me the opportunity to once again swap out my boat. I am now going to be in my current design Solstice GTS, which I named Utsqued Mare, which is Latin for to sea.
Many people ask about
This boat is nice.
switching out
You
the
made it
kayak.
Kevlar, it's light,
It is
fast.
absolutely not
Although it's more
necessary.
susceptible
I
to damage
only
from
did it
falling
because I had the
rocks or other
opportunity
obstructions
to.
in the water.
If I had to say which boat would be best for the entire length of the trip, I would have to go with the Whistler, which was the one before this one, because that one can handle the shallows, it can handle the rocks, it can handle the big water. All around, that's the better, more rugged boat for the entire length of the trip. But this Solstice GTS was amazing for the big water of Lake Pepin and some of the pools before dams, because it's just so sleek and efficient and fast. And I mean, it really was a great boat for the river. But you know, a lot of people make that, you know, is it that question, do you have to switch boats? No, absolutely not. You can take whatever you want, you know, I mean, whatever you're willing to deal with. But yeah, I just did it because I could. This is nice too, because you get past Lock 3 again, it's just boom, it's all trees and it's just nice and private.
Okay, so we are now past the part of the river where there are designated camp spots for you to stay in. And so basically now, it's a matter of finding your own spot.
Dan asks, how long
And
is the
making do with
Whistler? I
what
think
you
the
can get.
Whistler is about 14.5 feet. The Solstice is 17.7, I think, and then the
So I am just downriver
the
from
Pelican was 10 foot.
Lock and Dam 3. And kind of in a marshy, sort of an islandy place. There's no signs here, no nothing, no signs that anybody's even really ever been in here, so it's good.
So a little further upriver, there was
kind of
actually
a
some no trespassing signs, and then I kind of got into this area.
Dingy
Right across the
little,
river is a little
nicely
town,
wooded,
and
sandy area.
I didn't see any evidence that anybody owned this or anything, which is why I stopped.
Shores, no one can see me.
And yeah, I mean, it
I am sitting at the hammock,
worked fine.
so I don't have to lay on the wet ground. And hopefully
This
that'll
is what the
be
hammock is amazing
safe as
for,
well,
is this
so-
wet ground.
Yeah, so
You just
a
hang
few
above
miles
it. rinse your
upriver
feet
yet
off
from
before you
Red Wing.
crawl in there.
I'm gonna
And
try to catch up to the
man, it was just, I love the
Danish
hammock.
here tomorrow,
Can't say
and
enough.
hopefully we can all paddle together again. It's pretty cool. Got the first barge of the second part of my trip here coming by.
Alright, so this is the night where I had my first spotlighter. And
Barge of the
and they would just, so what happened was, is you can see that obviously the river is right here, the shore is right here. So I had this boat come by, and it's 11 o'clock at night. I don't even know, it was dark. And I could hear him coming up, and there was these super bright like spotlights on this boat. And my first thought was, oh, these are like DNR or, you know, sheriff or somebody patrolling the banks. And I'm like, I don't know how anybody would even know I'm here. But that was my first concern, was that somebody knew that I snuck into the woods here and that I was trespassing or something, and they were coming to kick me off in the middle of the night. But so, you know, this boat makes its way up. Its lights were cast just forever into the woods, and they got to right about here, and there's a little cove in here, and they stopped right there, and the lights were just square on me. I was lit up. There was no denying that I was in the spotlight. And you know, this boat kind of sat here for a second, and I was debating whether I needed to get up and go like approach them and be like, hey, you know, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but I didn't do anything. But the boat ended up slowly drifting off, went upriver, ended up coming back down the river on this side. About a half hour later, he came back up and sat here again and spotlighted me. And it wasn't until later that I figured out that I think they were just trolling. They were just doing some night fishing. And I just happened to pick a spot where they sat and focused their lights.
It was kind of a rough night, actually, because I pulled up onto kind of a random area. And
Yeah, Dan, I think that 14, I mean, you can always go longer. You know, the bigger your boat, the more stuff you're going to pack into it. But I definitely think 14.5 foot is a doable length. And like I said, if I had to do the whole river in the Whistler, it would have been totally possible. Many people have done the entire Mississippi River in the Whistler and had no problems doing it. So I just took the Solstice because I bought it to do the river. It was kind of an impulse buy, but you know, I really wanted to try it out, and everybody told me what a great boat it was. I actually feel like I had more storage in the Whistler because the Solstice is so narrow. The Whistler has got more girth to it, and I was able to fit stuff in there better. And then, of course, the Whistler is more robust. But I mean, both boats did great, and aside from the headwaters, where there's the rapids and stuff, both boats would have been just fine the whole length. I wouldn't want to take the Solstice down the first couple days of river, although some people do. But either boat would have done just fine.
They're about an hour ahead of me at this point. So, yeah, see how it goes. Lake Pepin, between Wisconsin and Minnesota, a huge wide spot in the lake. And the river, I should say. Huge wide spot in the river. It's amazingly big, and it's going to take probably all day to paddle.
So there's always talk about which way is better, left shore or right shore. Here's what I can say from experience. On the right shore, there's Frontenac State Park. You probably wouldn't be able to camp on there if you had to. I think it's over here somewhere. But the left side has a camp spot at Maiden Rock. The nice thing about the right side further down is I think it's Lake City on the Minnesota side. There's like a Burger King, there's a little marina over there. There's places you could stop there. I think the left side might be a little bit shorter paddle, which would be the Wisconsin side. However, chances are if there's going to be wind, it's going to come from the west, and so I don't know, my theory kind of was as I was going to track the west in case it was windy, because a lot of people have problem with wind on Lake Pepin, and you know, then at least you have the shoreline that can break that wind, even though the Lake Pepin shoreline on the west side kind of snakes in and out, and takes a long time to track that if you have to, but at least then you have a break from the wind, even if you do have to paddle a little further. they had no idea I was going to catch them here, so it was a big surprise to them.
Howdy, strangers. New boat. She's fast. What else do you think?
Yeah, Joe says so much wind that was probably one of the worst days for me. Some people, man, they get the Lake Pepin and it just kicks the crap out of them with wind. It's just almost not even fair for some people, but it is what it is. So yeah, there's the Burger King we stopped at. So we stopped at this little marina back here where this paddle boat is, and we laid under this tree here, and ran to the gas station, ran to Burger King, got some stuff, and then we actually took a nap under this tree because it was just such a hot day. And by the time we got back out there, the wind started picking up, and it only got worse and worse as time went on. But I don't know, that Burger King was a huge boost.
It'll be just hours and hours of paddling on this one.
This was actually my first time. I think it's only like my third time ever paddling in this boat, and first time ever being in a sea kayak. But some of these waves, man, were really starting to get a little unnerving the way they were hitting me. And the Solstice did amazing. There was one time I thought I was going to flip over, but ended up staying upright, so that was good. But yeah, I just sat here for a few minutes waiting for the waves to calm down. I didn't want my life jacket to go off because it goes off with water. But
Long sucker over with, and the winds have really now kicked up, and the forecasts were calling for 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, and I'd say we're there. And they're coming out of the west.
I didn't want to stand up and take my skirt off because I knew my boat was going to fill full of water. So I had to kind of wait for a small break in the wind, and then I could quick jump out and pull the boat up. But
Waves were officially getting taller than the boat and easily higher than my shoulders. I mean, there was a few times where I was pretty low in the water compared to the water around me, and I had to actually put my skirt on while we were paddling so that I could avoid.
See, and that was the other problem too. Is the entire shoreline up to this little patch of sand was just rock, and there would have been nowhere to stop and easily pull the boat out. So I talked to Lars and Marianne, and we said kind of, the next patch of sand we see, that's it, we're done for the day, because it's getting to be too much to try to battle the waves.
Chill, because we ain't going nowhere until this wind dies down. So if we had to camp here, it would be the end of the world, but it'd be nice to get Lake Pepin done with today, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
In retrospect, this was a really cool little spot. It was just this little patch of sand that jets out from the shore. Obviously, the train tracks are right there, and the trains run all day and night. But it was actually a super cool little spot. I have been tempted to just paddle back out there and just stay there. It's not that far from where I live, so it would be doable.
But yeah, better safe than sorry.
Lake Pepin is huge, and it's about this big past this little outlet here too. And just prepare yourself, because a lot of the pools coming up on the locks are as big as Lake Pepin. They might have some islands and stuff in them, but they are just as big. And so just be aware. I'm gonna disappoint you now so that you're ready for it. This is not the only big body of water like this you're gonna see. Hey Mike, welcome. Glad you finally made it. Sorry I kept delaying the stream. Yeah, you can see not a huge area, but I mean everything we needed. My hammock's right here. Lars and Marianne stayed right here. I mean, we had plenty of space, so it was nice. Nice little spot. You can see that shoreline too, how it's just rock, and it's like that forever before you get up to this little patch of sand. Nice thing is too is the highway's not right next to you. It's on the other side of that little swamp, little ditch. It was cool. We just sat, told stories, watched the sun go down. It was just a cool little spot.
Good morning from Lake Pepin. I am on day 22, I believe it is. And we are just leaving camp. I'm just leaving camp. My partners are already ahead of me. And our goal today is to finish paddling Lake Pepin. We got kicked off yesterday because of wind. Winds were much bigger than we were, so we had to call it. But
no worries,
we are going to head for the National Eagle Center in Wabasha, I believe it is.
Alright, I know I'm from Minnesota. It's pronounced Wabasha, is my understanding. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce every city in every state, so people love to get on me for that stuff. So I guess if that's all you got, on me,
right next to it, and they were like shoving cars around all night on it, just bang, 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 bang. Hear them banging all the way down the coast here, and yeah, it was just interesting.
Bring earplugs. Just
finally
bring
put
them.
their earplugs in and
It
blow
might
those out.
come in handy for some of
No
these
big
nights.
deal. I saw fine afterwards.
Trains all night. Right next
So
to
it's
you.
7:40, and yeah.
It's worth burning earplugs too. Your trip can be the greatest trip ever or the worst trip ever based on how you sleep. If you have a great night's sleep, man, the next day is going to be awesome. If you sleep like crap, the next day is going to be crap. And that's just kind of how it was. And so if you need to burn an extra blow-up pillow or earplugs or whatever you need to sleep good, it's worth burning because that makes your next day that much better.
Here we go. This is the near end of Lake Pepin. This massive monster body of water that we're paddling. Just one more mountain to go around, and we'll be there.
That's how it felt too. It just felt like you were going after, past mountain after mountain after mountain, and just the lake just keeps going. It just never ends. So I don't know if I had originally planned to stop at the Eagle Center, but Lars and Marianne, obviously they're here from Denmark. They wanted to see all the sights and everything, so they really wanted to stop, and so we did. And, yeah, it was a cool little spot, and I've since been back to the Eagle Center. It was really cool to kind of see it again and know that I paddled through there, but it's a really cool spot. Nice to get out and stretch your legs.
So we're here at the National Eagle Center. Nice place. Got a sticker, so we got to wear the sticker so they know that we've paid and we're supposed to be here. I was actually hoping to get my sticker and keep it, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, boom.
That's what's left of my sticker.
So yeah, welcome to film.
When I left there, I stuck it on my wallet, and just recently did it finally completely dissolve off. But kept it for quite a while.
In captivity. We don't know how old he is. He's in California. So we know he's already an adult. He got hit by the car. And based on how long he's been in captivity, 32. Yeah.
So the Eagle Center brings in wounded eagles from all over the nation, and they either keep them or they rehabilitate them. They'll tell you all about them. They'll bring them out and feed them in front of you. So it's a cool stop. Then we ran up into town.
It's
went
always
to a
nice
little,
to stop and get a little time.
little diner or whatever it was, and got some burger and fries and stuff, and that was amazing.
Not long after leaving, you'll make your way to the next lock and dam.
Good afternoon, Lock and Dam 4. How do you read me? Two kayaks heading southbound, please.
So it wasn't too long before I came through here that they actually had to pull all the rails and stuff off the top of the gates because the water was going over the top of these gates, and trees and logs and stuff will get all tied up in there. And so that's how much higher the water was just a few weeks before I had gotten there. They had sandbags and stuff here to keep water from going into the building. So, but yeah, even now the water is super high, and it would have been above these rails here not too long before we were there. A couple weeks, I guess. And then my wife actually has family that lives like right along that guide wall, and I didn't know which house was theirs. I don't think I'd ever actually been there. It's one of the ones right behind this wall, and I tried to film their house, but I don't know if I actually got it. I'm not sure which one it is, but it was pretty cool. I mean, it's just not one of those landmark places I had been. We drove down here before the trip and got to see Lock 4 and everything, and so yeah, just another cool little area to go through for me. It's about the furthest south I'd ever been along the river, and so now I was truly heading into the unknown for me.
Alrighty, so we just cleared Lock and Dam 4. We are through Alma. Pretty much everything on the river now for me is an unknown. This is the furthest south I've ever been, and all I did was down here was see the lock. So just got a train coming by. Power plant in front of us. Oh yeah, that's the update.
This was a really cool area. It's just like this stretch of rolling hills in the Driftless Zone, and I guess the Driftless Zone is just areas where the last receding glaciers never made it down this far, and they didn't scour the land flat. And so that's my understanding what the Driftless Zone is, and you just got these hill after hill after hill after hill after hill, and they're huge. I think we stopped. We got some water at a little marina. They had some ice cream, so we bought some ice cream, and kind of went through some of the back channels and everything. But yeah, I don't know, cool area, huge area. It's huge. It takes forever to paddle, it seems, but
makes for a long paddle, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, since it was flooded, I guess a lot of this is probably normally sandbars, and I actually was hundreds of feet from shore in any direction and actually ground to a halt out here and had to get out and walk the boat in what seemed like just the middle of the river. But just a huge sandbar, and was just deep enough to float into it, but then of course I hit ground, had to walk for quite a while. And this beaver, like, I got so used to them slapping their tail and splashing me, and I was just waiting for it from this guy, but boy, he just didn't even care. He's just doing his own thing. Lock and Dam number 5A, I believe. I don't know. Asked the guy if he said the water was still high. He said yeah, but it's coming down pretty quick, he said. So nonetheless, we are on the other side of it, so it's the place we want to be.
After passing through Lock
yeah, so there's two Lock 5s. There's like a 5 and a 5A or something. I don't know which one that one is, but Marianne and Lars, they wanted to stay somewhere with a shower. and restrooms and stuff. So we checked out a little RV place that was just packed, absolutely packed with RVs and people. It was just overflowing. And so I think off to the left some distance, there's a state park over there. And so they went for that state park. I wanted to stay closer to the river. It was quite a ways over, and so I paddled around half hour or so and found a spot for the night. So that's where we officially parted ways. I guess they were not too far from me the next day. I just didn't know it at the time, and so little did I know that was actually our last time paddling together. So let's see, maps. This would be day 20. Hastings down to, I don't know, that spot after Lock 3, whatever it was. So I had pretty much started halfway through the day when my wife finally went and dropped me off, so that's why I didn't get any further. I wanted to make sure I could find a spot before it started getting any darker. That's 20. Here's day 21. So this is when we stayed on Lake Pepin. There's Lake City. Red Wing, there's a Wisconsin channel and a Minnesota channel. I took the Minnesota channel. I don't think it matters either way. But, yeah, and then down to that little chunk of land. Wasn't much. It's really even hard to find on a map. It's so small. And then day 22, 36 and a half miles basically from our little spot. The Eagle Center's right here, right by this bridge. And, yeah, I stayed on an island that night. They, Lars Marianne, I think the state park was somewhere over here. But yeah, I like to stay on the main channel of the river. It was just nice for getting back on in the morning. So that is pretty much going to do it for the stream. If you guys have any questions, you can always throw them down below as always. I always go through and try to answer them the best I can. Other than that, I will try to stick to some sort of a schedule. I don't know, you guys, if you want to comment, let me know. Do the weekends work better than the Friday evening? It really makes no difference to me. There's never any guarantee that I won't be busy at the time I say, so I'll just do my best to get out here whenever I can. But yeah, I don't know. Good times. Appreciate y'all coming out. So
thanks for watching.
Joe, thanks for hanging out, man. It was good to see you around. And yeah, everybody else, go ahead, take care, and we'll